Hi, everyone. Welcome to Rick Slark Presents. Today I'm talking with Reggie Troutman, who's the director of the Springfield Community Navigators Program. How you doing, Reggie?
Doing okay, Rick. How you doing today?
Really, really good. I'm so excited that you're going to be part of the interview today and just talking. And we kind of know each other, so I think it's really, really neat to be able to tell everyone that I'm working with and some of the network that I have what the Navigator program is. I think a lot of people don't know, and I think it's really, really, really important that we talk about that. So let's start off with the first question. So what is this Springfield Community Navigator program? What is that thing?
Okay. And first, I want to thank you for allowing me to be here.
Oh, yeah,
because you gave me the call, and I was honored to be here with you, Rick.
Great. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
So the Community Navigator Program. So we actually have branded ourselves to the Springfield Community Navigator Program. It is a grant-funded program that was funded by the SBA. So it's a 2-year, $1 million program that is essentially focused on serving underserved communities. So business people or aspiring entrepreneurs, if you have a business and you live in an underserved area in the Springfield area or surrounding communities, we're there to assist you and point you to resources. So that $1 million, it does not go directly to the businesses. But what we've done is we've kind of formed through a hub and spoke type of system where we reach out to the business communities through organizations of those communities.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
So can you name a couple of the organizations or a couple of the underserved community? When you say underserved, who are we talking about specifically?
Great question. So with the underserved communities that we're speaking of, it's basically in response to the pandemic. So during COVID, a lot of money was given out from the federal government. And what the federal government at a later point through all this, like the PPP loans, they found out that a lot of the money did not go to some of the underserved communities that we're speaking of, that I'll get into shortly. But in order to right that wrong per se, this was one of the initiatives that they formed in order to kind of give some more traction to the areas that really didn't receive the funding like they thought it would or they would. So some of these, were you about to say something, Rick?
No.
Okay. That's fine. So some of these communities that we're going after right now in and around the Springfield, Ohio community we're going after Black businesses, mainly in the south side of Springfield. We're going after the immigrant business community. We're going after returning citizens, people with disabilities, the rural community. Let me see, I'm missing a few. Oh, senior citizens, and the food, like people who have food businesses or want to start food businesses. So I might have missed one, but I don't think I did. If I did, it'll come back to me soon. But we're reaching out to about 7 or 8 different communities that, at least in the Springfield area, proved to be some of those underserved communities that did not really take advantage of those PPP loans and all the information that they had and resources.
Okay. So I guess the next question, why do we need a program like this to help underserved communities, whether it is the Black community or the returning citizens, those kind of things? Why do we need this kind of program?
That is an awesome question. You're asking great questions, Rick. I mean, thank you. Your questions are great. So these are my personal beliefs, but also this is data driven as well.
Yeah.
What we found during the pandemic, between 40 and 50% of let's just stick with Black businesses, they closed during the pandemic. There are similar but less as strenuous as the Black. That was the far one, where it's like 40 to 50% of all Black businesses during the COVID pandemic closed down, not to return again. But the same thing happened with the Latina community where those resources from the PPP loans and all those other resources, the EIDL loans, they just didn't reach those communities. So it's needed because as there's an old saying about high tide, all sails, I'm going to mess it up. But pretty much, whenever everything is rising, all ships rise with it. So therefore, we, as we call ourselves with the Springfield Community Navigators Program, we have a saying, and it's called leveling the field. We're not trying to give anybody some disadvantage that they don't deserve or anything. All we're saying is, look, we're leveling the field. We're just going out there providing resources. We have $1 million in 2 years to do it, and that's what it's for. So we need this program because there is a need out there in our communities. And why not? If we are true purveyors of Springfield and the business community, and we want to see everything grow in Springfield, as everybody says, why not would we want to do this? So this is something that's needed.
So what's your approach to this problem? So you have these resources, and you have, and it's not just financial resources, it's training resources and things like that. So how are you now tackling this problem or addressing this problem specifically through the Navigator program?
So in the Navigator program, we have, as I said before, a hub and spoke system. And let me explain that just briefly the audience understands.
Yeah.
So with the hub and spoke system, you have a hub. So the hub, which happens to be the Springfield SBDC, where I work, the hub and spoke, So the hub is the main area, the SBDC.
Yeah.
They're the ones who got the grant. Through that grant, we reach out to different organizations within the community. So these are mostly grassroots organizations that kind of already tailor their outreach to these communities. So if it's OIC, who deals with returning citizens already, we reached out to them, we formed a partnership. Now we have a navigator with OIC who specifically goes after returning citizens wanting to start businesses or already have existing businesses. We partnered with 1159 South Community Development. They're on the south side. They reach out to the Black community and to communities also in and around the south side. So that's kind of how that's our approach to kind of getting the outreach out there. And it is not just funding. Resource-wise, we have a wide array of resources. So we're partnering with a lot of SBA-backed resources, such as ECDI, which is a loaning institution, but also the SBDC. And as you know, with you being an SBDC coach, you've become a valuable person to us in terms of resourcing and coaching to our clients that we serve.
So probably a lot of your time, this program began when?
This program basically took off in December 2021.
So you're probably spending a lot of time right now training the navigators to work and do the evangelism, I would say, right? You're spending a lot of time to do that. And you're training them. What are some areas you're trying to train them on?
So when we first started, we had a 20-hour program. So it was 4 days in January where actually we asked a couple of the coaches, such as yourself, to be involved, and y'all were very helpful. But first of all, the training started with just trying to figure out what are the resources, who's involved, what are we out there doing, because nobody knew. I don't think I've said this, but this is a pilot program, so this is a one-off, a first time. There were only 51 organizations who won this grant all throughout the United States.
That was amazing. That
was amazing, and there are only 2 in Ohio. So we just happened to be one of those 2. So getting the word out was, in my opinion, me being the program director, getting the word out was the second part of that. The first part is, let's train the people to see what exactly the resources are that we have available. So I thought, again, this was new. So I had an approach where I introduced them to the SBDC coaches. I introduced them to the city of Springfield. We talked about resources. We talked about even going out in the field, which I noticed was something that most of them didn't have any knowledge of at that point, because they've been with the organizations, but they haven't really been out in terms of outreach from that perspective, from a business perspective. You know, our navigator from the OIC, he's amazing, okay? he was always out there with returning citizens, but it was more so getting them into trainings and, you know, making sure that they're doing what they can, or what he can, in order to keep them, you know, just pretty much within the, you know, back into becoming great citizens.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
So with that being said, a lot of that knowledge of business and what does it look like from that perspective was more of what needed to be trained. So that's when we had the SAP that was helped, and that strategic action plan that was helped with Slark Consulting and a great guy I know named Rick. And he helped us out in terms of forming some goals and basically getting us on a roadmap and a path to success. So these are all the things that I'm learning, but now that we've been in it for about 3 or 4 months, really where we're going now is we're actually learning from our clients what we need to give them. So just yesterday, we had a great training. It was a dollars and cents workshop. A lot of my navigators were very mad at me because I held them for like 8 or 9 hours. So they started in the morning, and we had a training in the morning filled with more people, such as the Greater Springfield Partnership, City of Springfield again, ECDI, which is a loaning institution, as I said, and the SBA. Just furthering and putting more impact on the resources that we have and more knowledge into our heads to give to our clients.
For sure.
But the second part was our first event that we held with clients and people that were interested in the program. So with that, the 3 main things that I've been seeing through my interactions with our clients, one of them is credit. Credit is something that a lot of just the people in the underserved communities that we're challenging, you know, and trying to assist and saying, hey, we can start businesses. Hey, you can grow your business. This is how we need to do it. A lot of them have credit issues. Another issue is loans. They don't even know the first thing about what is needed to get a loan or to be loan ready. Banking relationships. In the Black community alone, it's under 50% have banking relationships. Sometimes it's not even bank accounts. So we need to address these situations moving forward, because if there's going to be a change, one of the best and easiest ways to do that is through entrepreneurship. Because if we see the entrepreneurs of our communities doing this, then it becomes more clear in the minds of everybody in that community, because normally entrepreneurs become some of the leaders of those communities. So those are the different approaches I'm taking now. I'm literally looking at what the clients need through the clients and from them. Like literally we had a survey, and I just asked them, what are you looking for? What do you need to know? What information, as a person who wants to start a business or has a business but is struggling with some things, what are those struggles? And that's what we're going to do. We're going to put on workshops to address that, but also add more presentation to what we're doing in the program.
Love that. Yeah, and I do love the fact that the hope in a lot of ways is what we call social business, in the sense that as business owners make money, they can become philanthropic. They can work together to create co-ops and coalitions and collaborations to help others, and I think it's a great way to go for sure.
Thank you.
So I'm going to have a couple more questions, and then we'll wrap this up. But so, what are the risks of this program? So now we're involved into underserved communities. We're trying to provide resources. We're providing education and capital and all of those things. But what are the risks that the Navigator program, being a pilot program, faces that you see in this work?
Can I steal some of these questions later to ask people? Risk. One of the biggest risks that I see with this program, because it is a pilot program, is that it doesn't continue. A lot of my navigators, being of these communities and seeing just on the ground level of all these issues and challenges that we're facing, one of the concerns are, what happens after the 2 years? You know, we're down to 19 months. We're down. It's almost like a ticking time bomb that's about to explode. So that is one of the biggest risks, because as we all know, one of the biggest issues and challenges with the SBDC or loaning institutions or anything that is outside of the purview of these communities is trust. One of the biggest areas of trust that we have is within the immigrant population that we're going after right now. There's a huge explosion of Haitians. And then we have a very, very, very well organized, that I'm finding, and connected Latina community in the Springfield area. So what that means is that bad news will travel fast. That's my biggest worry, to be honest. And the way that we are combating it is to make sure that we are the connectors, but we aren't the only way that they get to it. Because the whole, whether we continue for forever, or whether it is only 2 years, which I hope it is forever, of course, we do need this program. But we want to teach the people and train them so they can then train and teach others through experience. So as long as we have that funnel for 2 years and we can get that funnel going and start rolling, now we can get other people involved. So that's, for me, that's the biggest risk. Another risk that we have right now is access. Because of the communities that we're serving, there are a lot of challenges that, say, the average business, for lack of better words, doesn't really experience. Like even with the loaning of credit and just the understanding of credit, some of the communities that I'm dealing with don't have any credit. Strictly cash on hand businesses, which a lot of, they just, and then they're getting money from their cousins or their mom. It's hard to overcome that mindset if they don't see anything else but that mindset. Well, it worked for my uncle, it worked for my cousins, now they have a restaurant. It's trying to get them, as I tell most of my clients, we're trying to legitimize you. It's not that you're doing anything wrong, it's just that when you go to a bank and you want to actually get a loan because now you want to grow your business that's doing $100,000 in sales, you want to get another restaurant. It's hard to get that other $100,000 in sales if you've only been reporting $20,000 on your taxes. So it's the legitimacy of things that we have to fight. And that's the risk too, because we can lose them. But one of the good things we have is we have people out there that are of these communities. And that's, I want to really, really put a focus on that, because it isn't the SBDC doing this. We aren't going out there and saying, hey, let us help you at the SBDC. It's actually organizations that are in these communities already, with people that are from the communities already. Everybody that's tackling the south side of Springfield right now, they're from the south side of Springfield. They know the people, they know the community knows them. They're well known, they're well liked and well honored in many cases. So those are some of the pluses we have in our favor.
I guess so. I've asked what the risks of the program are, and it does seem like 2 years to reduce historic barriers is not a long period of time.
No.
And so I can definitely feel the clock ticking on that. And the idea of what if we fail to build trust? What if we fail to, it's just another failed story of. It just, and I can see that being a real risk. So real quickly, what are the benefits? What are some of the benefits of the program that you see at the end? Let's say the end of 2 years from now, what would you hope to see? What would be a win?
That's a very good question. You're giving all kinds of good questions today.
That's what I had somebody else write these.
So the benefits of this program, one of the major benefits is, even if it doesn't continue or if it does, one of the things that I would love to see are established businesses in these underserved communities thriving. Because even without us, again, the $1 million that we got did not go directly to them. It went to people to point them to resources. So that's my whole agenda anyway, is to get them in the face of the branch manager of Huntington National Bank, which we did yesterday.
Awesome.
Is to show them that, hey, you may have credit issues, but here's a counselor who can give you free credit counseling for free. which we did yesterday.
Awesome. Yeah,
So
great.
it's getting the resources in their hands. That's the true benefit. Because once we establish that, now not only can they use those resources, but they can give them to others within the community as well. Each one teach one.
So last question. If someone listening to us today their interest has been piqued or they are curious about what the program is in a little more detail, how could they connect with the Navigator program?
Okay, so if you're interested, if you want to help, if you have more questions, even if you know somebody that we can help, you can reach out to myself. Again, my name is Reggie Troutman. I'm with the SBDC. My number is 937-322-7821. That's 937-322-7821. Another way you can reach us is through our website. We do have a Navigators website, which is springfieldnavigators.com, and you can reach me through there. You can just show up to the SBDC, and you can also reach out to Rick. He has my number and my contacts as well.
Yeah, we're happy to do that. Thank you so much for taking the time today, and we want to thank Colton from Open Eye Studios for helping us with everything. So
wait a minute,
wait a
'cause
minute.
I got a gift.
Oh, you got a gift.
I bring gifts. Yes.
The bearer of gifts.
Yes. So I do want to thank you first, because people don't know this, but Rick has been instrumental in a lot of the work that we've been doing. And I'm bringing this straight from my heart. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Because
Thank you.
I don't know if you know this, but you mean a lot to us in what you do. You helped us with the SAP. You were there from day one. You were one of the first coaches when I took this job in December that showed up and said, what can I do to help? You introduced me to people, so thank you. So this is just a small token of our appreciation, but I want to give you our official, because you are an official community navigator, whether you know it or not.
Oh, I love that.
But that's the Springfield Level the Field Community Navigator shirt, and I hope you can fit it, Rick.
I love that, brother. Thank you very much. I appreciate that so much.
Thank you.
I do believe in this program. I really do. I believe that our culture is ready to embrace and to help the underserved communities that have historically been underserved, and that it is time we step up. This is a terrific opportunity, not only a well-funded, but well-resources in education, training, trust, quality, character advisors that can really make a difference in Springfield, Ohio. And that's why I wanted to sit down and talk about it today, because I wanted you to know about it. It's a great program, and I hope that you will learn more. Reach out to Reggie or myself, and let's make a difference in our community. And we do that by leveling the field. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.